Good morning, friends, and welcome back to Miss Trisha's virtual classroom. This month, I should say, we've been learning all about things that grow and change. So we've kicked it off with a butterfly week, and we learned all about how butterflies and caterpillars grow and they change into butterflies. And then we continued our nature theme, and we learned about frogs and turtles and chickens and those life cycles and how it starts at one point and it goes to the end and then it starts all over again, right? The turtles lay the eggs and then the hatchlings come and then the juvenile turtles grow to adults and then the adults lay the eggs. It's like a cycle. Well, then we ended our week and we planted some beans. So later on this week, we're going to check out our beans. And a couple weeks ago, we also planted some seeds and dirt, if you remember. So we're going to check that out too and see how things are updating. But in the meantime, we're going to be learning about delving more information about plants. So today we're going to be learning about dirt and how does the dirt help the plants grow. Then we're going to be learning about the cycle of precipitation and how it evaporates into the clouds and then it gets heavy and it comes down. It's cold in our different seasons that we have. We're going to be learning about how the water turns into snow and then the snow comes down. On Thursday, we're going to be learning about the sun and how the plants need the sun and how Earth needs the sun to keep things going and warm. In math, we're going to be learning about patterns in nature, patterns in springtime, patterns in the day and the night, patterns in the seasons. It gets cold and then it gets warm. It gets dark and then it gets light. There's patterns all around us. And we learned about patterns, how it repeats itself. So we're going to be learning about how things repeat itself in nature too. And there's kind of a pattern in all the life cycles also, right? It goes egg, caterpillar, chrysalis, butterfly, egg, caterpillar, chrysalis, butterfly, egg, tadpole, froglet, frog, egg, tadpole, froglet, frog. So those are all patterns that are found in nature, and we're going to be learning more about that shortly. So let's get started. I'm going to share my window and go to Tuesday's Read Aloud and click Present. It's time to read a book, come with me. It's time to read a book, come and see. It's time to read a book. It's time to read a book. It's time to read a book, come with me. And before I skip over this slide, let's look at the picture here and see, do we see a pattern in the picture? I see grass and then a trail, grass and then a trail. Those are patterns all in nature that we're going to be learning about this week. So before we get started, what's the first thing we do to get our lessons always started? We stand up so that we can sing and dance, because singing and dancing helps get our heart pumping. And when our heart pumps, it pumps the blood to our brain and our hands and our feet. It helps us get our wiggles out. It helps us sit still. It also helps us focus and pay attention. So that is why Miss Trisha likes to start every lesson with
By the way, did you know it came from?
Hold on one second. Miss Trisha has to get the volume right. So for some reason, the volume on my computer does not work. The volume on my phone will work. So let's start that over.
Hiya, 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 hiya. I'm Mr. Dirt, and on behalf of the slugs, I'd like to welcome you to this tape. I've come with some startling
Dirt
news.
kind of sounds a little scary.
Sit down, please, and pour yourself a glass of milk, which, by the way, did you know it came from dirt?
What? Did you know
Say you don't believe me?
Dirt
Well, have a listen to this song here. Dirt made by lunch. Dirt made by lunch. Thank you, Dirt. Thanks a bunch for my salad, my sandwich, sandwich, my milk, and my lunch. 'Cause dirt, you made my lunch.
Who would have thought?
Dirt is a word that we often use when we're talking about that earth beneath our shoes. It's a place where plants can sing their toes in a little while. A garden grows.
Dirt.
Dirt made my lunch.
Made my lunch.
Dirt made my lunch. Thank you, dirt. Thanks a bunch.
My
For my
lunch.
salad, my sandwich, my milk, and my munch.
Dirt
'Cause
made my
dirt,
lunch.
you made my lunch.
How did dirt make your lunch?
Plow will tickle the ground. You know the earth is laughed when the wheat is found.
Listen to this song real quick. This will be right back.
We're making a sandwich to munch on down. Dirt made my lunch. Dirt made my lunch. Thank you, dirt. Thanks a bunch for my salad, my sandwich, my milk, and my munch. 'Cause dirt, you made my lunch. A stubby green beard grows
Wanted to
upon
get
the
our
land.
dirt.
Out of the soil,
The plants.
grass will stand.
I don't know if you
But
can see.
underfoot, it must
They have
have
some
for making
sprouts
milk
growing.
by way of a cow.
By making milk by way of a cow. So the cow eats the grass, and the grass grows in dirt.
Thank you, dirt. Thanks a bunch for my salad, my sandwich, my milk, and my munch. 'Cause
Dirt,
you
made my lunch.
Thanks,
Dirt, you made my lunch. Who would have thought that dirt made your lunch? Do we eat dirt for lunch? No, but without dirt, the plants wouldn't grow. I don't know if you can see. It's very tiny. Some flowers are growing in the dirt, but without the dirt, the plants wouldn't grow, and then the cows wouldn't have any plants to eat, and we wouldn't have any food to eat. So dirt is very, very important. So here's our title of our book. It says Down and Dirty: The Secrets of Soil. Why do most plants need soil? By Ellen Lawrence. Let's click on our link. Wait for our book to open up. And we know the author is Ellen Lawrence, and it looks like she has a consultant, which is Sean Wallace, and he works at the Department of Earth and Planetary Science in the American Museum of Natural History in New York, New York. And it also looks like Bearport Publishing is our publisher, and we know the publisher makes it a book. So this author, in order to write her words, she wanted to make sure that she had the facts straight. So she consulted with a scientist to get all the information. So it says here, a tall tree with bright red apples grows in the backyard. It was once a tiny seed. So how did the apple tree get so big? Let's see. Tall leafy trees grow in a forest. Birds, squirrels, and insects make their homes in the trees. Beneath the trees are ferns, wildflowers, and other small plants. There is one important part of the forest, however, that doesn't often get noticed: the soil. Without soil, the forest would not exist. Let's find out why. What do you think soil is made of? Millions of tiny creatures such as worms and beetles and ants live on the ground and in the soil of the forest. And there's a woodpecker and a squirrel that live in the trees. What is soil? Most plants, including trees, need soil in order to live and grow. So what is soil made of? The main ingredient is tiny pieces of rock. Soil is also made from bits of dead plants. When plants die or leaves fall from the trees, they rot and become part of the soil. When a bird or other animal dies, its body rots, and then tiny pieces of feather or bones and fur and other parts of the body become part of the soil too. I just learned something new. What about you? Support from the ground up. So why is soil so important for most plants? Plants have roots that grow into the soil. The plant's roots spread out to firmly hold in the ground. The roots help prevent the plant from blowing over when it's windy. They also keep the plant from toppling over its branches or when their flowers are too heavy. I don't know if we can see any roots here. You can see underneath the dirt, see the tiny little root there? And then the dirt, and then the sprout. And that's the root. These are really tiny flowers. Hopefully they'll grow more by the end of the week. The roots of some trees spread out over huge areas, and the roots may be 2 or 3 times the length of the tree's branches. You see the roots down here are so big? In today's assignment, you're going to go for a walk and see if you can observe the roots of a tree. Soil, water, and roots. Soil helps plants in another important way. Plants need water to survive. When it rains, water trickles down and collects in tiny spaces in the soil. A plant's roots reach down into those spaces, and then the roots then soak up all the water the plants need. A plant needs water in order to make food so it can grow. Inside its leaves, a plant turns water, a gas from the air called carbon dioxide, and sunlight into sugary food. And we learned that about butterflies and bees. They eat that up, right? Getting nutrients. Plants also need nutrients to grow and be healthy. Where do you get nutrients? Soil, which is another word for dirt, rotting plant material, and dead animals and will add lots of nutrients to soil. Plants take in these nutrients with their roots. How do you think soil helps new plants grow? So there you see the carrot has a plant up top, and then the vegetable grows underneath, but underneath the vegetable, underneath the carrot, you see the roots. And that's where the water and the nutrients are absorbed into so the plant can grow. A large tree may have roots as thick as a person's leg. Growing out of the tree, roots are thin, hair-like roots. These tiny roots take in water and nutrients from the soil. These tiny roots grow underground. They are thinner than human hair. So we have thick roots and we have thin roots. Starting out as a seed. Many plants start out as seeds, and we saw that when we planted our beans on Thursday and when we planted our seeds last week, 2 weeks ago. Then a little green shoot pushes out of the ground. The little plant takes in water and nutrients from the soil. The plant gets bigger and bigger until it's fully grown. And these are bean seeds that you guys can actually grow at home if you wanted to do your own science experiment. Beans grow really fast. Seeds come in many different shapes, sizes, and colors. Some plants don't need any soil to grow. A group of plants called epiphytes often grow on trees instead of in soil. The roots of these plants attach to tree trunks or branches. Some epiphytes have leaves that form a cup. Rainwater collects inside the cup and is soaked up by the plant. And then it says tillandsia or air plants are epiphytes that take in water through the leaves. These plants can grow almost anywhere, even on power lines. Now, I just learned something new again. I did know that algae doesn't need soil, though. Poor soil, healthy soil. In some places around the world, the soil is dry and has few nutrients. Farmers who live in these places have a hard time growing crops. However, there are ways to make the soil healthier for plants. Compost is made up of dead plant matter, and it's filled with nutrients. When farmers add compost to soil, they make the soil healthier for their crops. Animal dung. Do you know what animal dung is? Animal poop. Animal poop or dung contains lots of nutrients that plants need. Sometimes farmers spread on the fields to make the soil healthy. Why do you think it's important that farmers have healthy soil for growing crops? Well, when soil is healthy, farmers can grow many crops. These crops include wheat and oats for making bread and cereal. Farmers also grow tasty vegetables and fruit. We might not think of soil when we bite into a slice of toast or a tomato, but without soil, however, we wouldn't have most of the foods we eat today. And there's the tractor cutting the wheat and the farmer growing tomatoes. There's that dairy cow eating grass, just like he said. Did you know that dirt makes your milk? Without plants, we couldn't have milk and other dairy foods, such as cheese and yogurt. That's because in order to make milk, cows and goats must eat grass and other plants. I bet you learned something new today. So here's a science experiment that you guys can do at home. I encourage you guys to do these kinds of things with your mom and dad. You can investigate how well plants grow in 4 different types of soil. So you'll need potting soil. You'll need soil from your garden or yard. You'll need soil from an area where plants aren't growing, so like wood chips from a playground. And then you'll also need sand. And then you'll need 4 flower pots. You need 8 bean seeds, a small shovel, a marker, and a notebook and a pencil. And what you'll do is you'll ask your grown-up to help you by buying the different types of potting soil. But the other 3 types you could probably find just around the neighborhood. So if you go to a park, you could find wood chips and a sandbox and then just dirt from your garden. And then potting soil is probably the only thing that you'll need to buy it at Walmart probably. And this is not a requirement, this is just a suggestion. So using a small shovel, fill each flower pot with a different type of soil and use the marker to label each pot. And you can also just use cups. You don't need to get pots, just like a styrofoam cup. Place 2 bean seeds in each cup or pot and cover them with soil and dress down gently. Place the pots in a sunny window and water the seeds to keep the soil moist. Then wait and see what happens. Which soil do you think the plants will grow best in? Why? Write down your predictions in a notebook. When the bean plants start to grow, which one grows the fastest? Which looks the healthiest? Why do you think your prediction did or did not match what happened? And then here are some science words that we learned: compost, gas, ingredient, material, nutrients, and roots. And then here you can also learn more online at bearportpublishing.com/down and dirty. We're going to finish our quiz, finish our book, but first we're going to start our quiz. Why do most plants need soil? What is soil made of? Is it made of dirt, dead plants, tiny pieces of rock and dead plants, or is it made of small pieces of seashell? Well, we learned that it was some pieces of rock, and we also learned that it was dead plants. So let's choose the one that has both of those. Correct. Which of the following is not a function of the root? So, does it not help them hold in the ground? Does it not help make food? Does it not help keep the plant from toppling over if the flower gets too heavy? And does it not prevent the plant from blowing over? This is hard. I want to say this one. Oh, it doesn't help make food. Got that wrong. Which 2 items add nutrients to the soil? Grass and rain, carrots, plants and animals, or rotting plants and dead animals? Well, in the story we read about how rotting plants and dead animals give it nutrients. Plants that don't need any soil are called, it started with an E, epiphytes or something. I forget how to pronounce it. Blank is made up of dead plant matter and is filled with nutrients. I think that was a word that started with a C. It wasn't recycling, because recycling is when we take the plastic bottles and cans and turn them into something new. Pollination is when seeds fly from, you know how those like those flowers that you blow, dandelions, and then it flies. Well, that has a little seed on the end of it, and when the seeds fly into the dirt, they grow in another spot. That's called pollination. And it's not photosynthesis, because photosynthesis is when the sun goes into the plants So I think it's compost. Correct. One more question. What do some farmers add to their soil to make it healthier? Do they add minerals, beans, compost, and trash? I think they add compost. Good job. And we only got one, Mr. Trisha only got one wrong. And then here's some more books about soil if your student is really interested in this topic. These are the Down and Dirty series, Dirt and Soil, what's the difference? What's soil made of? How do animals help make soil? And is all soil the same? I recommend checking those books out and doing that science experiment because it's really important to keep learning alive at home. We earned 234 points for reading for 15 minutes. Let's go back to our presentation. And here's a little video to review what we just learned about dirt. What's the dirt on dirt? 2, 1, and then we got 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Creatures like worms.
Gotta skip those ads. All right, so let's check this out.
Unless you spend a lot of time underground like we do, you might not think very often about dirt. But dirt is awesome. It's everywhere. And just about every living thing on Earth depends on it. From the plants that grow in it, to the animals that eat the plants, to the animals that eat those animals. That's why we're really glad that one of our viewers, 4-year-old Caleb from Mississippi, wrote to ask us, what is dirt? Great question. First of all, the stuff that fills our flower pots and baseball fields may just be dirt to us, but scientists have a different name for it. They call the top layer that covers most of the land soil. So what is soil? Well, it's a mixture of things. How soil looks and feels depends on where you are. So some very dry places have a lot of gritty sand in the soil, while soil in other parts of the world might have hard rocks, soft clay, or even pieces of seashell in it. Usually, though, soil is made of 4 main things. Mostly, soil is made up of minerals. Minerals are hard, stony substances that form things like rocks, sand, and clay. The next big part of soil is water. That's right, even if a clump of dirt doesn't seem like mud to you, it actually has water in it. All living things need water to survive, and soil does a great job of holding on to water for plants, animals, and other things that live in it. And you know what else is in the soil that you probably can't tell is there? Air. Just like water, air in the soil is important because living things need air too. It fills the spaces between all those little bits of minerals, water, and other parts of the soil. And the beauty of it is, the animals that live in the soil actually help more water and air get inside it. Creatures like worms and insects and even small mammals like moles and mice dig tunnels down in the dirt. Those tunnels let air and water trickle in and flow around so that even deep down, the soil has what living things need to make a nice home there. And this, my friends, brings us to probably the most important part of soil. In fact, it's some of the most important stuff on Earth. Scientists call it organic matter. Organic matter includes anything that's alive, like those worms and insects, but also parts of plants and even living things that we can't even see, like bacteria. Plus, organic matter also includes things that used to be alive, like dead plants and animals. After those things die, other living things like fungi, bacteria, insects, and worms eat what's left of those plants and animals and break them down into very small pieces. This broken down material puts nutrients back into the soil, and plants then use those nutrients to grow. So soil is where plants get their food. Scientists call this special nutrient-rich part of the soil by its own name, humus. Humus is what gives soil its dark brown color, and it even sometimes contains special bacteria that make soil smell, well, dirty. Now, all of these things are mixed together to make soil, but the mixture isn't always the same. Scientists have found that soil has many layers to it. The top layer is all made up of organic matter, with lots of that good, useful humus. Beneath that is the layer that we often call topsoil. Topsoil is made mostly of humus, with a little bit of minerals sprinkled in. This layer is where seeds start to grow. As you go further down away from the surface, you find that the deeper layers of soil contain more minerals than humus. And once you get through the bottom layer, you run into a layer of solid rock. So now you have the dirt on
soil. And you know it's made up of minerals, water, air, and organic matter. Thank you for asking, Caleb. Does anybody else have a question? Let us know by either leaving a comment or emailing us at kids@thescishow.com. Thanks, guys, and see you next time on SciShow Kids.
Pretty cool to learn some interesting facts on dirt and how dirt helps plants grow. Google assignment for today. This is where you guys are going to get to work. So you're going to find a tree outside in your neighborhood or park. You're going to draw a picture of that tree, and you're going to label its parts: trunk, branches, leaves. I want you to observe the roots that are in the dirt because they're thick. And then talk with your child about using straight lines and curved lines and circles and ovals or other shapes to draw what you see. Watch the same tree over time and talk to your child how the tree might change through the seasons. So right now is springtime. So that tree, Mr. just going to draw a tree. That tree, see how the roots are at the bottom and they're kind of big, right? Make sure you include that. Roots. And then we got trunk. And the trunk might have lines in it, right? It might even have like a hole in the bottom. Remember that video that I posted a couple weeks ago that had a hole in the bottom? And then we have branches. And right now, the tree probably has leaves on it, green leaves, right? And it might even have some flowers. Cherry blossoms have flowers. So we got leaves. But in the fall, the leaves start to fall to the ground, and that's what helps make dirt, right? But then after all the leaves are on the ground, in the wintertime, the leaves start to crumble up and turn to dirt, and then the branches are bare. And then in the wintertime, the branches might collect snow on them, right? So you can draw a tree in all 4 seasons if you wanted to. Here's our letter assignment of the week. So we have gone through all the letters for the year. We only have 2 more weeks left of distant learning. So this week, what we will be doing is reviewing the sounds of the letters. So your only assignment is to go to starfall.com and review the sounds. So if you click here on starfall.com and you go to kindergarten, and then you go to ABCs. You can click on all the different letters down here. You can sing ABC song down here. These are letter vowel sounds. But what you can also do after you explore that for a few days, you can come down here. And these are short vowel, short A, short E, short I. The word machines. And then you can also learn to read. And you've seen this before. Then we got letter sounds sh, w, th, and ch. There's a video there on chunking and vowels. There's even an activity here for the flower shop. So check that out and explore starfall.com. And then one more Google assignment, additional Google assignment, is to take a walk around your backyard or your block and see if you can identify some of nature's giants: the tree, the sun, the moon, clouds, things that grow in nature that are giant. And once you're indoors, name the words that rhyme with tree and sun and list or draw them on a piece of paper. Now the words that rhyme don't have to be in nature. So tree, tree, 3, see, me, he, 3. and then sun. So we got sun, ton, fun, bun. So those are all the different kinds of words. And come up with your own words too. Don't just use Miss Trisha's words. So the assignments are getting a little easier and a little more fun to get you guys outdoors. So connecting to Google Classroom, I know I said we only have 2 weeks left, but guys, I really want to encourage you to it's not too late to get on Google Classroom yet, because the slideshows are on Google Classroom, the assignments are posted there automatically at 9:30, 11:15, and 12:30, and you can click right there and download videos. Ms. Trisha loves to see the videos of you guys doing your work, the pictures of you guys doing your work. So, but first you need to download the Gmail app to your phone and log in using your child's PGCPS email login information. And what that is the first name, last name with a dash in the middle at pgcps.org. If you do not know your child's email address, check your email, because Ms. Trisha on April 8th sent everybody an email that gave you your child's email address information. I sent it numerous times, so it's there in your email. If you can't find it, send me a message on Dojo and I can resend it. So then after you download the Gmail app to your phone and you log in, you go to the website classroom.google.com first, and you get into the classroom that way. This was a tip that was given to me by another parent who was having some hiccups getting in. So this is a trick to help you guys get in. So once you go to that classroom.google.com website, then you go back to your app store and you download Google Classroom app. And you should not have any problem getting into the app after that. So I really encourage you. But in the meantime, a big thank you, because even though you guys have had problems getting into Google Classroom, you guys have still been watching the videos on YouTube. You've been sending pictures on Class Dojo. We have some friends, about 7 friends on Google Classroom that are submitting the work. So you guys have been doing great, and I truly appreciate, because making these videos and posting it, making sure that there's an audience out there watching and doing the work puts a big smile on Miss Trisha's face. So thank you again. So before we finish up, let's explore our dirt. So I planted this a couple weeks ago, and I don't know if you can see. Sorry, hold on. I don't know if you can see. You see the little sprout there? So he grew its roots, and then the sprout came up. Oh, there's another one. There's another one right there. You see any more? All right there. Come up there. So that is growing, and hopefully by the end of the week we'll have more growing. It's been a little cold, so I think it took a little longer to grow, because we need sun, we need dirt, and we need water. So those are the 3 components. And if you only have 2 and you don't have the sun and it's not warm out, then your plants are not going to be like, it's too cold to come outside. So I hope that you guys learned something new today. I know I surely did. Check back in about 45 minutes for our math lesson, and I will see you later. Bye-bye.